Hey, I'm Tim, and today we're building the Adventure Series Hip Pack. So first, I really recommend you watch my Getting Started video. In that video, I show you the various options and variations that are in the pattern for this pack. If you watch this one start to finish, you'll see that I'm actually making two packs. This white one that has the stretch pockets, and this black one that's got the zipper front pocket and the laminated back panel. So watch that video and decide which variations you want to go with, and then you can use the timestamps down in the description to jump to the relevant spot in this video. So once you're ready, let's get started, and soon you'll have a hip pack for yourself. Alright, so following the paper pattern instructions, we've gone ahead and cut out all of our fabric panels. For my pack, I'll be using a black 500D Cordura for the top, the sides, and the bottom, as well as a dark olive for a top, as well as the front panel that'll have a zipper inserted for a pocket. This is Hyper D300 and is PU coated. First, we cut the front panel along the cut line, and we can measure the zipper for the length of this panel. To finish off the ends of the zipper, and also to keep the bulk of the teeth out of our seam allowance, we'll actually use these little small pieces to cap the ends of the zipper, and then these plus the zipper will get inserted into this panel. So the total length of the zipper plus these two ends ends up equaling the length of this front panel. And what I do is I just get it close and then trim the edges when I'm done. So we have our zipper inserted into the front panel, it goes left to right, and now I'm going to align my front part of the panel to the back portion of the pocket. So now I'm just going to baste this together, and basting means that I'm going to put just a really nice long stitch just to make it fast, but I'm going to stay within my seam allowance all the way around the edge to basically combine these two parts together and make that pocket. The next one, what I want to do is I want to make, instead of a zipper panel here, is a big stretch panel across the front, as well as stretchy side panels for bottles and things like that. So I have a 4-way stretch material somewhat similar to spandex or spandura, and there's two key pattern pieces here. The first pattern piece is the stretch front pocket, and the second one is the stretch side pocket. Now these two pieces will go on top of the body panels. So when you make your hip pack, you'll still have the side panels as well as a front liner, right? So that'll be a solid sheet underneath the stretch pocket. So following the pattern piece, I tape down my first fold, and now I'm going to run a zigzag stitch across the entire length. Okay, so with the first zigzag stitch, that holds the nice clean edge there in place. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do a double fold down of a 1/2 inch. So that means doing it twice. So you're going to fold down once 1/2 inch and then a second 1/2 inch. And then we'll do a small tack in the middle. Okay, so just a quick little trick here. What I did to mark the middle, so I just laid it out on my grid, and then I used a couple pins to mark the start and the end finish, and that way this tack will be pretty close to the middle of this panel. Your stretch side pockets are the exact same process. So again, do one fold down, you zigzag across the entire front, then you do two 1/2 inch fold downs to where the panel goes from the bottom of the pattern, up to this line, and we'll do a small tack right in the middle. And then if you need to, you can just do stay stitches on the sides to help hold it for assembly. Okay, so remember, two side pockets are mirror images of each other. So make sure you have them in the right orientation when you do your fold downs. Otherwise, one fold will be on the front and the other one will be on the back. We're now ready to start assembling the side wings to the front pocket. And it's super important to make sure these side wings are attached in the right orientation. Otherwise, you'll be seam ripping them out like I just did. So what you want is that there's a 90-degree angle, and that goes to the back panel. So the front attaches to this more or less curved seam. The other thing is you're going to have some load lifters. Now these load lifters, they kind of attach to near the bottom, and then they'll come towards the top of your hip belt. So you want to put them in at an angle. So they'll kind of be like this. So just slide that in, you can clip it or pin it, and then you'll stitch right over the top of that as you go down this seam. All right, so So our sides are attached to our front panel, and we got our load lifters. Okay, and now the next step is to put the remainder of your zipper from starting on one side and going all the way to the other side. So there we are. Top zipper is attached to the front as well as the sides. We're ready now to put the bottom on. What I do is I'm going to start on the front panel, and then you're going to curve the bottom around each of the two sides. What you're going to do is you're going to rotate this around, and so just go slow, and you can pull the bottom to fit the curve. If you need to, just cut some relief cuts. Got the bottom attached to the front and the sides, and it's making a nice turn. Now we're going to be putting the zipper onto the top panel. And there's also a liner for the underside of the top panel. Now you don't have to do this liner if you don't want to. I think it's a nice addition. So here again, it's important to think about the direction of your zipper. So you can see once you make a couple relief cuts, then it makes a nice little curve. And then when you're going to flip this right side out, you're going to want to do the same thing to the bottom fabric. See how it's making these little ripples? Just make small little relief cuts and it'll fold over itself real nicely. So now to do the liner, again, you want it face sides together. I'm going to just lay it on top of it and then follow that same curve all the way around again. So what I'm doing with my fingers here is as I'm going around this zipper, I'm just making sure that the zipper is pressed out of the way and these two layers are laying directly on edge. For the back panel, I'm doing a laminated polyester and EVA foam panel, which I'll go into detail next on how I made this. Alright, so I'm out here in the garage and I'm spray adhesing the back panel to the foam. And I'm just using this 3M Super 77. You can buy this at the hardware store, it's pretty common stuff. But I got my EVA foam and then one side of the back panel. You just spray it, wait for it to get tacky, and then you can press it down. So it's been a couple minutes and it's gotten sufficiently tacky. So now I'm just going to lay this over the top of it, and then I'll get a heavy piece of plywood or something just to hold it down for a second. Alright, so I got my other side sprayed, and a little trick you can do is you can use something that doesn't have any spray adhesive on it, and you can kind of place it in the middle, and that'll help you place this sheet on top of that one in the place you want, because the minute these touch, they stick. And then again, I'll use my plywood and my weights just to hold it all flat. My wings, instead of fabric wings, I'm actually going to be doing a webbing loop. So the loop will kind of be like this, and then I'll have my tensioner. So I'm attached the back panel to the top, face sides together, and I'm aligning my foam to the edge of the zipper. Okay, so I got the bag inside out, and I went ahead and started the zipper. So I got the zipper started partially way. Don't zip it all the way closed because you got to flip the whole bag through it. And I'm going to show you a little trick here. Because I know I didn't hit all my seam allowances perfectly well. So what I'm going to do is I actually opened up where the bottom and the side panels meet. Now I didn't go very far. I only went up to where the curve starts. But I'm going to show you that this is where I'm going to be able to take up some of the slack in the bag. And that way I don't get a lot of puckering. So it's a little trick where you can kind of hide the puckering or the excess into one of the seams or the two of the seams. So if I have two seams, I can balance it and it won't be all in one spot. And it'll make it look really finished at the end. So that's just a little trick. So what you want to do to start this, obviously, is, where you started the zipper, is we're going to kind of line it up best we can, and then we're going to start stitching all the way around the bag. Okay, so I got the whole back panel now sewed on, the bottom's now sewed on as well, and I was able to effectively hide my excess seam allowance into these seams. I got a little bit of a pucker there, but I'll clean that up. And now the last thing to kind of check is that all your corners are nice and closed in. And that just means kind of sewing back over it and sticking to your seam allowance and trying to, just make sure you close in any gaps. With that, we're done with the hip pack. I showed you a lot of different variations, so you can really customize this one to your liking. If you want to follow me for future videos and for future projects, give the video a like, maybe subscribe. There's a lot of future projects coming, so I hope to see you again. Thanks.